Hello, this is Misty again. Today we will be looking at how converting a mixed number measurement to a smaller unit is different from converting a mixed number measurement to a larger unit. So let's go ahead and get started by looking at slide B. So in previous lessons we've expressed a larger whole number unit of measurement such as yards in terms of a smaller unit of measurement like feet. For example, we know 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. In today's lesson, we will think about a fraction of a larger unit and how we can express this in terms of the smaller unit. So let's take a look at this first question here. Think about 1 foot. What fraction of a yard is this? So you see a bar model represents a total of 1 yard. One of those portions is 1 foot. So how would we call that 1 foot in yards? What fraction does that represent of a yard? Take a moment to think about that. When you're ready, you could go ahead and unpause. Okay, so let's take a look at another little version of this. So if I were to kind of just think about this, if I asked you what's the fractional name of this model here, what would you say? 1/3, right? The same we would have for this bar model here. This bar model shows us that 1 foot is equivalent to 1/3 of a yard. Okay, so we kind of think about it, we can think since you need 3 feet to make a yard, 1 foot is 1/3 of a yard because you need all 3 to make that total. Well, 1 foot only represents 1 out of those 3 feet that you need. We're going to practice this a little bit more. Let's go ahead to the next slide here on slide C. Here it says, look at the yardstick below. What do you notice? What does this make you think? Now this is a portion of a yardstick, so it's only 1 foot. Go ahead and jot down what you're noticing and what you're wondering. When you're ready, you could go ahead and unpause. So what did you notice? Did you notice that 1 out of the 4 parts are shaded? Did you notice that it said here that 1/4 of a foot is equal to 3 inches? Did you notice that it said 1 foot is equal to 12 inches? Was there anything that you were wondering? Did you maybe notice those little tick marks there and have some questions about those little tick marks? Like maybe what fraction each tick mark represents out of that foot? Or what fraction 5 tick marks represent out of that foot? Or maybe what 2 tick marks represent? All right, now that we've studied this one, let's go ahead to the next slide. So we're going to take what we've seen now in the last 2 slides and apply it to this problem here. You guys ready? All right, so this should seem kind of familiar. We did see it in the previous slide. So we did see it here on slide B, something very similar, right, where it says 1 foot, 1 yard. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So it says here that 1/3 of a yard is equal to 1 foot, right? We said that, right? We need 3 feet to make a whole yard. If we only have 1 foot, then that's 1 out of the 3 pieces we need to make up that yard. So knowing that, they want us to go ahead and find out how many feet there are in 1 2/3 yards. So go ahead and solve this problem any way you choose. When you're ready, you could go ahead and unpause. All right, so I like to see things. So I'm a very visual learner and I like to draw things. It's one of my favorite things to do when I look at math is to draw things. So what I did was I took this little bar model and it says 1 2/3 yards. So that means I have a whole and then 2/3 more. So that got me thinking here. And since 1 2/3 yards, right, is made up of 5/3, right, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, I know that 1 2/3 is equal to 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. And since here I know that 1/3 yard is equal to 1 foot, 1 2/3 yards is equal to 5 feet, right? Because this little square right here, this rectangle here, this is equal to 1 foot. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet. Now, some of you might be saying, isn't there a way that I can solve this by multiplying or dividing? And there is. So we're going to take a look at that way too. So I know that the relationship between yards and feet is, right? I know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, right? So I need to find out, whoops, should be feet. I need to find out how many feet it is. So if you see, I'm going from a smaller number, right? I'm going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, but my numbers are growing bigger because I have more smaller parts within the bigger one. So I'm going to be multiplying my 1 2/3 by 3, since I know the relationship between the two units is 3, right? Times 3. So I could do the distributive property here, right? 1 times 3, 2/3 times 3, and I'll end up getting my 5 feet for my answer. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at another response here. So here we have student A. So go ahead and analyze student A's work and answer these 3 questions on the right. When you're ready, go ahead and unpause. All right, so what did you notice? Did you notice that they have a big rectangle here and 2 smaller rectangles that are shaded? Did you notice that there are 5 feet below the bar model? So this bar model here on the bottom shows 5, and it matches up kind of with the top bar model. What did you wonder? Did you wonder if you can make a bar model to convert larger units to smaller units all the time? And you can. Sometimes it might not be an efficient strategy if the numbers are really large, but you can always make the problem simpler so that you can see the relationship between the larger and smaller units. And what does this make you think about converting a mixed number or unit of measure to a smaller unit? Does this make you think that the number for the smaller unit will be greater than the number for the larger unit? So you'll notice here, we have here, right, this yards is the bigger unit, right? Yards is bigger than feet, but you'll notice that our number is changing, right? It's going from a smaller number to a bigger number. Okay. All right. Last question here. Let's take a look at this one. So it says, how many inches are equal to 4.5 feet? And you might want to draw a bar model, maybe to see it a little bit more clearly, or you could go ahead and try and solve it a different way. Go ahead, when you're ready, you could go ahead and unpause. All right, again, I went ahead and I drew a little bar model first. So more like a tape diagram, but here I have 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and then half another foot. And I put in there the corresponding number of inches. So I know that 1 foot is 12 inches. So I put 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. And then because I have half a foot, I know that it's not going to be 12 inches. It'll be also half. So that'll be 6 inches. So I know that I'm going to have 12 and 12 is 24, plus another 24 gives me 48, plus another 6 gives me 54 inches. And then I also went ahead and solved it using the distributive property again. So I know that I'm changing the feet into inches, so that means I'm going to be multiplying, because I know that if 1 foot is 12 inches, you see that the number is bigger for the inches. So I need to multiply to get to that bigger number. So that's why I multiplied here by 12. So again, I used the distributive property. I multiplied the 4 and the 12, and then the half by the 12. 4 times 12 gives me 48, and half of 12 is 6. And that gives me a total of 54 inches. Okay? And that brings us to the end of today's video segment. I hope you found this video on how to convert a mixed number measurement to a smaller unit and how it's different from converting a mixed number measurement to a larger unit. Well, great job today. I'll see you next time.